Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast, where we talk about all things 3DO, the company, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Threk. How you doing, Threk?
Oh, Bill, I'm doing okay, I guess. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's finally starting to get warm up here. I actually was able to sit outside and read over the
Yeah,
weekend, which was nice.
I took my first allergy med for the year because I'm all sniffly and getting a bit of a headache. I'm like, I think it's that time again. So
Yeah, it hasn't hit us yet, but I know it's coming.
yeah, but I'm hanging in there, hey, doing the best that I can.
Yeah. Easter was this weekend. It went okay. Had the
Yeah,
family over.
Easter was Easter. Yeah, did stuff with the family. It was all right.
Ate way too much, drank way
Easter,
too much.
I didn't do that, but Easter was never like a huge thing. But it's whatever.
It's mostly an excuse for the family to get together. Alex hosted it this year
Oh,
for the
that's
first
cute.
time, so that was nice.
That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah. Other than that, though, just getting into the week. Yeah, it's been pretty chill so far.
Yeah, about the same, really. Been at my new job for a while, so I'm kind of settling into it, and yeah, you know, I stay consistently busy, but still enough to chat with you guys on like the Discord and everything.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a nice steady pace at least for now. So we'll see how things change as it develops into the coming months.
That's good.
But yeah, but we're here because we're doing our first like revisit, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of came up with the sub branding. You'll see it in the thumbnail. I'm calling it 3DO Round Two.
Yeah, round two I think's good.
Because we originally planned to head to do in the last episode we said we were going to do Who Shot Johnny Rock, but we had scheduling conflicts. Our buddy Casey is actually going to be out of town for a bit, so we decided to push back and do this instead.
Yeah, I guess it was the right time to finally revisit good old PO'd. But before we do that, we'll get into the news. There isn't a huge amount though. The first thing, probably the big one, it had been rumored for I think at least a year at this point. I think Oblivion remastered. It is real. It is here. It's on Game Pass, PlayStation, and PC, and all that good stuff. Apparently, it might be coming to Switch too as well. Yeah, it's here finally after this constant will it, won't it, or whatever. They did a big trailer for it. It looked fantastic, and here it is.
Hmm.
So I haven't really delved into it yet. Some of our friends in the Discord have been playing it, and I think they've been really enjoying it. Steam reviews seem to be really good. So there we go. I've really been wanting to sit down and play Oblivion, but playing the original version is not really the best thing to do these days unless you have nostalgia for it. So this remaster seems like the perfect chance for me to jump in and finally experience this much beloved game. I did own a copy of it back in the 360 days in that weird 2-pack with BioShock, if
Mhm.
anybody remembers that. But my 360 red ringed before I ever really got a chance to play it. So now is my chance. Now is my opportunity. So we'll see how it goes. I assume you've played Oblivion, right, Bill?
I played Oblivion right around when I got my 360, my first one that red ringed, ironically. Um, that was how I discovered that the Slims could also red ring. That was fun. But
Yeah.
I bought it because it was like when I bought my 360, I bought my 360 to play Tales of Vesperia because that was the only way to play Tales of Vesperia at the time. And I figured I might as well buy all the other exclusives because like 360 games at the time, and even now, still to a degree, were like you could get them for like less than $1 at GameStop.
Yeah,
Um,
they've gone up a little bit, but they're still uh decent prices.
like I remember getting the entire Halo series for like less than $5, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Um,
I think now maybe you'd pay like $20 for all of them.
yeah, it's still pretty cheap, but it's definitely not like the glory days of GameStop not giving a shit about the 360.
Yeah.
Um, but one of the games I got was Oblivion because it was super cheap, and I played a decent amount of it, but I won't lie, I'm not a huge Elder Scrolls fan. It's fine. I get the appeal. It's just not really for me.
That's fair. That's fair. My Elder Scrolls experience isn't a lot. Like the little bit of Oblivion. Like even back in the day when I had it, I played a bit of it and actually and was liking it, but never got around to properly finishing it because of the Red Ring stuff. Yeah, tried Oblivion recently, didn't care for it. Tried Morrowind, no. Try Daggerfall. No. I've messed around with Skyrim here and there, and I like it, but I've never really like done a proper playthrough of Skyrim. Maybe one of these days I'll finally do it. So this will probably be me giving the Elder Scrolls a good proper try. Finally,
Yeah.
not playing some old ass game nowadays with my modern sensibilities and struggling to really adjust to it.
Yeah,
So,
the Elder Scrolls was kind of the series that made me realize I just inherently prefer Japanese RPGs.
I could see that.
JRPGs. Like
Yeah,
I think the first Western RPG that really got me was like Mass Effect, and I have a soft spot for Fallout, particularly the original Fallout, but that's a completely different beast in itself.
Yeah, exactly. So, and apparently though, to kind of piggyback off the Oblivion thing, there's also like there's been rumors of a Fallout 3 remaster in the works, and I don't know if that's what Virtuous is doing now that Oblivion is done. Who knows? I think Morrowind would be a good one to go to next because that's a very beloved game that deserves a nice fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, because it needs it.
Yeah, and in the video, Todd Howard was there, and he said, we're still working on 6. We swear, we're still working on it. And I'm like, well, I'm sure they are. It's just my guess is they're probably just taking their time with it because they realize like doing a proper follow up to Skyrim is difficult. Like that's a big bar to meet, let alone cross. So my guess is they want to get it right.
See, whenever I see their time. Whenever I see Todd at one of these things now, I always feel like they're like, you can be here, but don't say anything because you're going to say something stupid and make us look bad.
He didn't really say anything. If anything, he kind of downplayed it because it's called Oblivion Remastered. But in the video, they're like, oh, we like remade every asset in Unreal and like redid all the lighting and even got like new dialogue and mixed it in with like the old dialogue. Like you still got Patrick Stewart in there, but like, they've made like new music and a bunch of quality of life stuff. I'm like, you could have called it a remake, and I don't think anybody would have been mad at it.
Well, yeah, because like, the line between remake and remaster is kind of a blurry mess nowadays.
It's basically which marketing term do you prefer?
Yeah.
At this point, and I think when like Dead Rising did the deluxe remaster, that's when we went, oh fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, now we got the Last of Us remake, and I'm just like looking at it, I'm like, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah. I mean, like with Oblivion and Dead Rising, weirdly enough, 2 very pivotal games for the 360 early in its life. Like both of them definitely got a lot of work put into them. So.
See, whenever Todd does like any sort of thing where he shows up now, I'm always imagining someone in the crowd just being like, very cool, Todd, very cool.
So yeah, my guess is whenever we see him next, it'll probably be for like Elder Scrolls 6 or something, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Next thing, this kind of came out of the blue. So Outrun, right? Like the classic Sega franchise, the driving game, whatever.
Yeah.
Love Outrun, specifically Outrun 2 in 2006. Like those might be my favorite racing games of all time. Apparently an Outrun movie is being made.
Sure. Why not?
Who do you think's directing it?
Isn't it Michael Bay?
It is Michael Bay.
Yeah, I think I had seen that.
Yeah, like he's directing it. It's Sydney Sweeney's in it. My guess is she's going to be the lady that's sitting next to you the whole time.
The blonde girl that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it fits. Sure, why not? The script is why not? Fuck it. Who cares? Right?
If we can make a Minecraft movie, I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah, chicken jockey, right? But yeah, it's weird because you can tell like Sega, they're like, oh, we've had this huge success with all the Sonic movies. Maybe we should make more movies based on our IPs, right? Apparently there's a Golden Axe animated show being made. That I did not know, or at least I didn't remember. So yeah, sure, Outrun. I'll probably go fucking watch it because I do like Outrun.
I mean, I'll watch it out of curiosity, but that is such an odd choice for a movie.
Yeah, my guess is it's going to be very like Fast and the Furious. It's going to be that, but hopefully more focused on like the cars and like the driving stuff.
So like the first Fast and Furious.
Yeah, the Fast and the Furious. Yeah. So sure, why not? Who knows if this even gets off the ground?
If it ends up being stupid like Fast and Furious in like that fun way, then I'd definitely watch it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll work. Like Outrun doesn't need to be serious at all. Like,
No,
come on. Yeah.
because I know like with like Fast and Furious, you don't watch that because it's like high cinema. You watch it just because it's stupid fun.
Yeah, it's a popcorn movie.
Um,
So
that's fascinating though. I'm sure to
yeah.
keep an eye on that.
I would like a new Outrun game. That would be fucking sick.
Yeah,
Or maybe they take 2006 and do like a nice modern port to it with remaster like the graphics and give us like online multiplayer and everything. That'd be sweet.
just don't tease us like they did with Daytona USA and be like, we're making Daytona USA 3, and then it comes on there just like, psych, it's not 3 at all.
I mean, it's Outrun. They own the IP, so they can do whatever they
Yeah.
want. That's we'll see. Oh, we did get an NSO drop.
Did we? Did we?
Yes, it was for the GBA Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones.
Oh, nice, nice. Another
Yeah.
is is 7 on there as well? I don't remember.
I don't think so, or maybe it is. Hold on.
Because I know 7 was on the Wii U shop because I downloaded it there.
Let's see. Hold on. Audio listeners, I'm looking at my Switch right now. Where's the GBA one? There it is. I think it just auto downloaded for me, which was nice.
Oh, sweet.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Let's see. Yep, Sacred Stones. Is the original Fire Emblem? Yep, the original Fire Emblem is on there as well.
Okay, I thought it was. I
Yeah.
wish they would be cool and give us like Blazing Blade as well. The Roy game that never came out over here, but
Yeah, that's the third GBA one, right?
technically it was the first. Because it's Fire Emblem 6 technically, and then we got 7. And then
But it never got a translation, right?
Yeah, it's one of the few that hasn't been localized because I know it's that one hasn't been localized. Pretty much all of the ones before that haven't. We got the first game and then they took it away.
I still have it.
I have the special edition that with the download code that doesn't work.
I just bought the download code. I just bought it digitally.
Same.
Let's see. Yeah, that's weird. We never got Binding Blade. I know a Fire Emblem remake has been rumored for years now. That
It's
like
weird
it's done.
because with
Apparently it's done and it's ready to go. And from what I've heard, it's Genealogy of the Holy War. Like that's the one
that
they're
one
remaking.
That's a cool one because that's like one of the really wacky Super Nintendo ones.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. I believe it. It's just weird to me that like if it is real and it's done and Nintendo's sitting on it, why have they been waiting so long? They could have threw it in the Switch 2 Direct if they wanted to. Like nobody would have batted an eye at it.
We technically got Gaiden, the second game, because they remade it as Echoes.
Oh yeah. Shadows of Valentia.
Good game. And they also remade the first game as Shadow Dragon, which is a decent DS game, but it's also very old feeling.
Yeah, and they also remade the third one on DS.
They did,
as well.
But they decided we didn't need it because
thanks, guys.
Well, the series was technically dying at that point, and then Awakening came out and saved the series, and now it's one of Nintendo's biggest sellers.
Yeah, now they're like, we have to do all kinds of Fire Emblem shit all the time, and now they've gone like kind of silent on it again. I don't know why.
I think they're working on something.
My guess is they're just trying to figure out where to throw Genealogy of the Holy War, or they might be doing something brand new. Who knows?
Yeah, because all the recent Fire Emblems have sold very well. So.
Oh yeah. It is a stable IP for them now, so it would make sense that they would still want to work on it. So, but we'll see what happens with that. But speaking of Nintendo, a cute thing happened where they made a Switch 2 commercial with Paul Rudd. Now, famously, Paul Rudd was in a Super Nintendo commercial way back in the day. Had like weird long hair and like the red shirt and the black blazer and everything, right? They brought like the entire look back for this, and it was cute.
It was
cute.
A lot of people were joking. They were like, "He's finally starting to age."
He does look a bit aged in this, but it happens to all of us, so no big deal. But it's cute that they did that.
It's just so funny when you think about it. Like at that point in time, he was just like this actor that was in some stuff, but then now you think of him, he's Ant-Man, he was in Friends, he's been in all sorts of shit.
It's like when you go back and watch, I think it's like an old Atari like Pitfall commercial with Jack Black in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's crazy to me.
Oh, yeah, just like old stuff like that. Like
Exactly.
if you want to think like really bizarre, like I saw an image of it recently, but there was that really bad Disney remake of the Shaggy Dog, starring Tim Allen,
Yeah, I
and
remember
I
that.
I was I was watching clips of that, and I forgot Robert Downey Jr. was the villain.
Oh yeah, he
It was like
is.
one of his last films before Iron Man, so it was like him in his like rock bottom phase, and I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that is so weird to see.
It is amazing if you like just follow an actor's career and just see the roller coaster that they tend to be.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of the weird shit they'll do, you know.
yeah. I
But
saw a clip of that, and I was like, holy shit, I
like
forgot
like
about
my
that.
like one of my favorites is like Denise Crosby, who, you know, was Lieutenant Tasha Yar in TNG. And then she famously left the show for understandable reasons. And then she starred in some really crappy B movies like Mutant Species that has a
Yep.
blind character named Jordy in it. And it's like, ooh, really just
Yeah.
stabbing it there. You know, I mean, we'll probably go more in depth about it later, but you know, I always feel bad for Denise Crosby because I think if she had just stuck it out, she would have gotten what she wanted, which was just more time to like act and be a proper character on the show. That's all really she wanted. She felt like she wasn't doing anything.
Hmm.
And so yeah, if she had made it to season 3, she would have been fine. But
Yeah.
shoulda, woulda, coulda. Anyways, so that Star Wars tactical game did get officially unveiled as a Star Wars Zero company. It's being done by a company called Bit Reactor. They're collaborating with Respawn, so it's an EA thing. I guess Respawn just they're the babysitters of the Star Wars franchise these days, as far as the video
Well,
games are concerned.
they know how to do them good, so
They do. They did make a little trailer for it that looks really cool. It's doing the whole like it's a ragtag group of characters. We have like a Jedi and a clone trooper and a droid and a bounty hunter and just some Han Solo motherfucker, right? Like, and the way they're teasing the gameplay, it's going to be very XCOM, which sure, why not, right? It looks neat. It's coming out next year for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. So something I'll probably keep an eye on. But
yeah.
I'm waiting for that third Jedi game.
It's like the only Star Wars content that I actually kind of enjoy since the Disney takeover.
The video games tend to work for Star
Yeah.
Wars like consistently across the board. They've had really good video games.
Mm.
I think it's just the more action heaviness of it combined with a very kind of simple lore makes it very appealing for video games. And you can do so many different. I mean, basically every genre I think has been tried in the Star Wars universe. So
Yeah.
can't wait to see what David Cage does with it. I can't.
I'd actually play that.
It would be awesome. The last thing I have is apparently PlayStation Plus prices are increasing.
Yeah. Everything's
Yeah,
increasing.
exactly. But it's mainly just like the subscription. It's going up as much as like $35, which is quite a lot. Especially when I mean I don't follow it, but has like the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium have they gotten better?
I mean, they get the 2 games they give every month is nice. I just the thing that sucks for me is it's like every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it's 2 games I already have. Cool.
Well, and isn't Premium supposed to have like the classic games like PlayStation 1,
Yeah.
PlayStation 2, Vita? Like, are they still pumping games out for that?
I'm pretty sure the problem I have is because I'm Psycho Collector, I have all of them and they don't appeal to
Okay.
me in the slightest.
I mean, that's fair. It's just I don't ever really see when those kind of classic games get added to that. So maybe I'd have to check.
It's
Um,
from what I've heard, the actual performance on the PS2 games is better than it was.
yeah, I heard it was kind of rough at first, and I think it's wasn't it when they were doing PS1? It was like the European versions, and so they were running kind of weird.
Yeah, that was a weird thing, especially because PS1 emulation is so easy.
Yeah, and I think that's back still when like PAL games were 50 hertz.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people question why they can't figure out PS2 and PS3, and they honestly probably should, but I do understand because for whatever reason, the PS2 and the PS3 have 2 of the most annoyingly complex processors for no fucking reason.
I think it's just like a money thing. They don't want to put the resources in to figure it out
Yeah.
because yeah, PS2 and PS3 emulation are getting better by the day, and they're being done by like hobbyists who
Mhm.
like that's just what they do on the side, or like they're making money from fucking Patreon or something, right? Whereas like Sony, we know they have the money to do it. I mean, hell, like Xbox has figured it out with those backwards compatible stuff for OG and 360. Nintendo's been figuring out with, I think they're rebranding it Nintendo Classics for everything, which is better. And even like Switch 1 is being emulated on Switch 2. Like it's like a weird like emulation layer or something, you know?
It's kind of like how the Vita could emulate PSP.
Yeah. And if you jailbreak a PS Vita, you basically unlock that PSP emulator and you can do whatever you want with it,
Hmm.
which is great. And it runs PSP games fucking phenomenally. So
Sony has been all that's actually one of the rare times Sony actually made a competent emulator because like when I think about it, they've always been super lazy because I'm pretty sure the PSP's PS1 emulator, they just used fucking the Connectix emulator that they bought to get rid of.
yeah, and then for the backwards compatible stuff on their older consoles like PS3 and all that, it was hardware emulation.
Well, yeah,
It wasn't software.
the OG PS3s, like the one I have, legitimately have a PS2 shoved in them. Like
Yeah. And
that's why they were
and
expensive.
PS2s were made to work with PS1 games like hardware
Yeah,
basically.
it's kind of like how the Sega Genesis was inherently backwards compatible with the Sega Master System because the Genesis incorporated the Master System's processor and sound
It-
card into its actual design.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
just needed a pass through because the cartridge slot didn't match.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then with that's the thing, I don't know how like PS4 works on PS5. Like I don't think
They're
is that
based off
emulation? I don't think it is.
they're based off the same chipset because they're basically just PCs at this point.
Okay, so they just basically let you play those games.
Basically, from what I've gathered, the PS5 is essentially a more powerful. It's basically a souped up PS4. Like they
That's
just
fair.
upgraded all the hardware and stuff. So it's essentially just like a PC upgrade. It still works
Yeah.
with all the. That's why all the PS4 games run better on it.
Yeah, yeah. I think the Series X is about the same when it comes to like
Yeah,
just more like it's taken the One X and souping that up as well.
yeah.
Because both of them are AMD. They're based on AMD.
Mhm.
So
That's basically what the new generation. Like Nintendo's the only weird one because Nintendo has to always do their own weird shit. But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure at this point, like the reason why console wars are pointless now is because there might be some minute difference between PS5 and series, but they're so similar at this point. It's like
Yeah.
doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And with like the amount of people who are buying consoles, like the console like user base isn't growing. I wouldn't say it's shrinking, but it's like staying at a relatively stable number anyways, that it's like you're fighting for scraps basically.
Pretty much.
Like really the growth is in the PC market. Like PC keeps growing all the time. So
Like the choice between PS5 and series at this point is basically preference. Like in my case, I just prefer the PlayStation controller.
yeah, it's basically like yeah, controller and basically what ecosystem you've been in.
Yeah, brand
So
loyalty. I know a lot of Sony fans have just always been Sony fans.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, and if you're baked into their ecosystems already, like it just makes sense. Everything carries over. So
I was watching a video and they made a comment that was actually really interesting to me. They said that like if you look at like any picture of someone's video game collection, you can actually it's like always a fun little window into like their habits over the years. Like if you in a lot of cases you'll see like a full 360 collection, and then miraculously it switches to PS4, and you're like, ah, they were someone who was burned during the Xbox One reveal.
yeah, I mean yeah, if you look at it, it's obvious like what was like the dominant console of that era. You can
It's
just
just really
kind of look
funny
at
to
it.
see because like you'll see like some people you'll see they're just Sony diehards. They sit through everything. The 360 era was a fascinating one because even though it technically came in third, it was that was
It
such a
was
close fight.
yeah,
Like that was
and it was the dominant console of like our culture, especially over here in the West. Like it was the thing, like everybody had a 360. It was like that was the cool system to get. Like PS3 was kind of considered like, why are you getting that piece of shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't until
Because
like towards the end where Sony got their shit together.
yeah, because Sony burned a lot of people at the PS3's launch as well. So it's just, you know, things kind of come and go, and now it feels like we're at a point where it's just like some people try to prop it up, but really it's like, who fucking cares anymore?
Well, yeah,
Like,
console wars have not mattered. 360, PS3, kinda, but I mean, in reality, the last time it really mattered was like
360 PS3 was the last console war that was fun.
yeah,
You know, like it was fun to do that. Whereas like once we got to the PS4, Xbox One, it was just like, who really cares anymore?
yeah.
You know?
And then Switch came in, and basically at that point, it was like, yeah, there's no point anymore.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, we're all just kind of playing the same games anyway.
Yeah,
That's all really that matters.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we're all just playing the same fucking game, and just the way things are shifting, just in the whole like gaming space, you know, eventually just everything will be able to play everything, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Who cares? So, but yeah, that was basically it for the news. Not
the only other thing that I saw, we had mentioned it off camera, but the Lunar remasters came out.
Oh yeah. This might. I'm probably not getting it right away, but I don't know. I don't know. Like I always hear about Lunar and how like, you know, a lot of you guys really fucking love it. And then I'm just like, well, what about it makes it so special? And usually I just get it's just a really good JRPG from that era. And I'm like, well, there's a bunch of those.
The thing about Lunar is there's kind of a mystique to Lunar, particularly Eternal Blue, the second game, because the second game has kind of been for this. The reason why this remaster is so important is because Lunar 2 has always kind of been this like unobtainable thing, because it was only released twice, this original Sega CD and the PlayStation remake, and both of which came out super late in their respective systems launches, and they ended up being like really hard to find and obscure. Meanwhile, Silver Star, the original game, has been re-released like 7 times. Like it's much easier to come by. So it's really a case of that. It's also a game that like the Sega CD versions in particular were like really kind of marvels for the time, like the way, because they really took advantage of the Sega CD. They're RPGs that are really hard to explain why people love them. It's kind of like you have to try them to understand, and if you don't like them, then you're probably not going to like them. But if it hooks you, then people kind of figure it out. It's one of those kind of games.
I could understand that. I'll probably throw it on the wish list, and then when it gets to a certain price, I'll probably grab it and give it a shot. So
it's bound to go on Steam sale eventually. I think it's on Steam.
Yeah, I think it's on all the consoles as well. So, yeah. But yeah, it's cool that it came out. It's about time those games finally got a proper re-release, because you know people have been begging about it, and the rights are kind of like in a weird spot, weren't they?
Well, because apparently, Victor Ireland, the former founder of Working Designs, and then he still, I guess, retained the rights to them, which is one of the reasons why they weren't included on the Sega CD Classic.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting character, that Victor Ireland guy.
That's what you've told me. I think
I'd highly recommend checking out Retro Hangovers. They did a whole interview with him. It is fascinating. Very interesting guy. I'd recommend checking that out.
Well, then I will.
But yeah, other than that, we did get new Nintendo music.
Yes. What do we get?
It's a bit topical, considering something we were talking about earlier.
What do we get this time? Let's see, nothing new in NES, nothing new in Game Boy, nothing new in SNES. Blazing Blade was always there. Oh, Fire Emblem Engage.
Yeah.
The fucking Crest toothpaste hair.
Yeah. I was like, I saw it and went, oh, cool. Then I went, I wish it was Three Houses.
See, I know that soundtrack. Yeah, well, I haven't played this one at all. So
this one is really good gameplay wise. I just hate the fucking characters.
That's fair.
But yeah, cool. Fire Emblem. I don't know if it's a complete soundtrack though. They might be doing some Kirby shit.
Well, Well, looking at the soundtrack, it was pretty long.
Okay, so it might
'Cause-
be the
'cause-
full thing.
yeah, because I think it was Forgotten Land has 15 tracks. And it's like, what the fuck? Fire Emblem Engage has 58 tracks, and it's like almost 3 hours long. So I'm like, that's probably the whole soundtrack.
Okay.
Unless they're missing like 2 songs or something stupid. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Something that nobody except for like the biggest fanboy would care about.
Yeah. So, but yep, that's it for all the news. So now we can finally get to our round 2 of PO'd. So why are we doing this round 2, Bill?
Well, because the wonderful company Nightdive Studios, as an April Fool's joke, decided to announce they were remastering this
Yes.
PO'ed game, as some people like to call it.
PO'd, yes. I remember when they announced this, and I went, "There's no fucking way." And then I watched the trailer, and I'm like, "No, I think it is fucking way, dude. Like, I
Because
think this is real."
they revealed it on April Fool's Day, I think, and a lot of people are like, "Nah, like this is a joke," and it was like, "Oh shit, they're actually doing it."
Yeah. My guess is the rights to get it probably weren't expensive. So I'm trying to think who owns this game. Would it be 3DO?
Well, 3DO. I don't think 3DO ever actually. No, they did. So it was published by Any Channel, and then the place.
I thought Any Channel was the developer.
So Any Channel was the developer, but they also published it on 3DO.
Okay.
It was also published by Accolade, what another company that does technically exist, but not in the same way. For the PlayStation version. My guess is it's just been one of those things that probably just kind of ended up somewhere, and it probably wasn't super expensive to get the rights to.
Well, it says here on May 23rd, 1995, the 3DO company entered an affiliated label agreement with Any Channel, which granted the 3DO company rights to distribute the games in North America and both publish and distribute them anywhere else in the world for the next 3 years. So, but because Any Channel doesn't exist anymore, and we don't even necessarily know who bought them up when they went under, or like anybody bought them up, who knows? Let's see. The company was acquired by Micron Technology. I don't know who that is either.
It was honestly probably just a company. The rights were probably just kind of floating around for a while, and then when Nightdive had this funny idea, they probably found them and got them for super cheap, if anything.
That would be my guess. I wouldn't even be shocked if they just straight up owned like this game. Like they just have it in the background. They just own it. Yeah. Nightdive. Yeah, they announced this on April Fool's Day in 2024. I think it was last year, and then it came out May 16th for all the consoles and PC and everything. And then I waited for it to go on sale to download it, in which I did. And I'm assuming you did as well. So
yes, I paid it for I think I got it for 50% off on a sale.
Yeah, so it was like $10, I think. So yeah, paid $10, played through it over the weekend and beat it. As opposed to our last time when we covered this, I did not beat it. I feel like the last time we did this game, we didn't really give it its just due, and I think that's because we were still kind of like finding our footing as a podcast at that point.
Yeah,
and also the 3DO version of PO'd runs like absolute dookie.
Yeah, this is one of those games that's really interesting from a design standpoint, but it runs like shit on the 3DO.
Yes. Absolutely. Did you ever get around to playing the PlayStation version?
I emulated it. It plays just about the same, so we weren't really missing much.
Okay. I figured I was just gonna ask. But yeah, here Nightdive, I mean fucking Nightdive, man. They're what a great studio Nightdive really is.
They are the boomer shooter kings.
Yeah, they've been around since 2012 apparently. They started doing some like original stuff in like the mid 2010s, but really like they found their footing like taking all these random like first person shooters from the mid 90s and just bringing them out. Like
I saw one person describe Nightdive as they are the kings of taking 2-star games and making them 5-star experiences.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did with PO'd. But they did that Doom Legacy of Rust, like when the Doom 1, Doom 2 thing came out, where they put the two of them together in this really nice deluxe package. Nightdive had a hand in it and even did one of the new like story map sets for it, which is really cool. But yeah, they've done like the Turok remasters. That was them. Doom 64, Shadow Man, Quake, System Shock. Like they
Power
were big.
Slave.
Yeah, Power Slave. Their version of Power Slave is so fucking good. I played through that. They brought back the Blade Runner point and click adventure game, so they started to do some non-shooter games. They did the Dark Forces remaster. They did Killing Time.
Yep, we'll be getting to that eventually.
When we get to Killing Time, I'll be playing that version. And they also recently did the Thing remastered, the old PS2 Xbox game. Oh, they brought back I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
They did. They did.
Is that already out?
I don't know. I know. I remember I saw they were working on it. I don't know if it's already out or not.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that because that's a really good game. Yeah, and they're doing the System Shock 2 remaster as well. Because I think they did didn't they do like a proper they did a proper remake of the original System Shock as well as like a nice enhanced version of the original as well. So yeah. Nightdive, they've developed a reputation for taking all of these weird old games and making them great again. They need to do like Hexen and Heretic. They really need to do those. Those I think are like proper Nightdive bring them back kind of games. You know,
I'd love to see them do like Marathon, like the original Marathons too.
Marathon would be sick, yeah.
Just so we could have a way to play them, especially with the new one coming out.
Yeah, that would be like perfect cross promotion. Like there's a nice well of games that they still could do. Like it'd be interesting if they touched what were those? So I know I was talking about Raven. There was not Hexic and Heretic or Hexen and Heretic. There was another game I'm thinking of that'd be sweet for them to do. It's a Soldier of Fortune.
Yeah.
Because the original Soldier of Fortune on Dreamcast is really fucking cool. And I'm like, that would be nice to see like a proper remake of that one.
I know the rights to it are probably a pain in the ass because Gearbox is probably stingy on that, but I would love to see them do a proper remaster of Duke Nukem 3D as well.
There's been so many different versions of Duke Nukem 3D that's been re-released, but
the best one was the Devolver Digital one, but that's long gone because Gearbox wanted their version out.
Yeah, and they'll probably never do it because they know Nightdive would do a better version than them.
Yeah, have them do Duke Nukem 3D, make it better. They could probably make that game in half the time.
Oh god, yeah. Like Nightdive are they're just like churning shit out. Like if you
know what'd be really
put out
cool?
Like 3 or 4 remasters a year.
This would be completely a fanon thing. I doubt it would happen, but it would be really cool if Nightdive could do that 2001 build of Duke Nukem Forever that actually looked good.
That would be really nice, but that's very wishful thinking.
Yeah, that's complete never going to happen, but that would be sick.
And I know recently they've talked about wanting to do more like 360 and PS3 remasters. So they could really dive into some of the weirder games from that era and bring them back out, which would be fucking sick.
Oh yeah, didn't they say they want to do Haze and everyone's just like why?
Like Haze was like their example of like a game that they could bring back, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, do it.
I mean, if they want to make it good, sure.
Exactly. So, but with Nightdive's reputation and them tackling PO'd of all fucking games, that made me go like, they'd probably make this playable. And I remember when we found out about it, we're like, yeah, we'll probably revisit it and we'll do that version specifically. So, and here we are. We've done that version specifically. I beat it. Did you beat it?
Yeah, I beat it when it first came out, and then I did a playthrough of it over the weekend. And there's a lot to say about this remake.
Yeah, there is. But before we keep going, there was one thing I noticed, and that was our YouTube version of the original PO'd. I listened to it just to kind of remind myself, and Jesus Christ. But I looked at the comments, and there was one comment that kind of stuck out to me.
Oh, I remember this guy.
Yeah, Mr. Leon, it's me. I have no idea if he still even listens to us at all. If so, you're getting a shout out. But he had a comment that I thought was interesting because I looked at it like after I'd finished the game, and he'd said no mention that it was one of the first FPSs that included the jetpack. The scales of the levels, which were huge, the few secret levels, it actually was worth finding. The unique weapons, especially after the bazooka. You did a lot of injustice to the game, and to be TBH, I doubt you even finished it at all. Finished it all, which I said I didn't. I understand Doom/Quake fan bases. I was there, but you didn't point to the strong points of the game, which in that time might elevate it to a 7 or an 8 out of 10. So Mr. Leon, I do agree with you. We did not give this game its proper justice. And I think that's just because it didn't run super well on 3DO, and I just really didn't have the patience to fucking deal with it. But Nightdive really improved this game. It made it playable.
Did you have the same? Did you have the same reaction the first time you played it, where you're like, "This feels fucking wrong"? Like,
no, when I first booted up and started playing it, I was like, "Oh, I can do this." I was like, "I got this in the bag, baby."
I was like jumping around and fucking like speed. Almost, I've heard people contest that this could actually be a speedrunning game if you're actually good enough at it.
Oh yeah, because there are certain levels. There was one level I beat in like 15 seconds.
I
wasn't even trying.
That's a thing about PO'd, because when I was replaying this game, I completely forgot about the teleporter mechanic, where like it's not like find the key based. It's about finding like the portal and getting out as quick as possible.
Yeah,
like,
I mean it's still like an exit. It's not like Doom where you have like the key cards and then you find like the exit door or anything like that. It's more just you'll see that like weird teleport icon just kind of pop in and out, and you're like, oh, that's where I need to go, and then
it's
you just
something
go.
that Quake would use like a couple months later.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Because I when I was playing this game, I was kind of realizing, like, after I got over the fact, I'm like, holy shit, this just doesn't. I'm so used to this game feeling jank as fuck, but I was like, holy shit,
it feels
like,
smooth
yeah,
as
like,
fuck, and like you can redo all like the controller bindings. It has like the field of view, like they give you a lot of different options to fuck with the game and make it much more playable to your standard, which is great.
Because I noticed right away, like, playing these levels, the majority of this game is like extra bonus shit that doesn't even matter. Like, the actual like destination is like right there, and a lot of it's just exploratory like extra shit, which is just fun to find.
But then there are like a handful of levels that it feels like the opening of the portal is like some weird arbitrary thing. Because I guess my big issue with the game, I mean, yeah, the game, it runs so much better, right? But my biggest issue with the game is, I think when I had said last time, it's a bit of a where the fuck do I go kind of game.
Yeah,
that still very much applies. Like, there were so many levels. Like, yeah, some of them are like really big and huge, and then you get the jetpack and you can fly around. Like, that's cool, I guess. But my biggest issue was half the time I didn't know where to go, and I would get lost in these like really big levels that maybe would have like slight differences. It's like, oh, here's where you got to do the thing. Like, you'll see those little floating sort of like button press things, and they're like so tiny and so easy to like completely overlook that you could roam around this level for like 10 minutes, and then it's like, oh, I have to push this. Had no idea of it, like the level progression and sort of like the game trying to guide you from start to finish is not good at all. It's just not there. Like,
it's
at least
very
like Doom has that stuff with like the whole key card system and the kind of more rigid kind of level design that it has. You can, like, yeah, you'll run around and get lost in those levels too, but when you find key cards and all that, you're like, oh, okay, now that's where I need to go into this next area. It does a good job of like guiding you, whereas PO doesn't really do that at all.
PO'd borderlines, like, almost, I wouldn't say full on, but it has almost a Metroidvania vibe to it at times.
The only reason I wouldn't say that is because you don't ever like revisit levels with like new weapons and find new stuff. Like Power Slave is much more of like a proper Metroidvania in that regard.
It's
but
definitely,
also Power Slave's a much more well-designed game.
Yeah, it's got that. I'm trying to think of like a good comparison, almost maybe like a Metroid Fusion-esque thing, where it's like linear, but like the levels are really large and wide open.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that a little bit. Yeah, and it does have a bit of a reliance on like platforming and the jetpack and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, the jetpack it's neat, but it doesn't really help that much. At least, like,
No,
there's that one level where you basically have to fly in the jetpack the whole time, where you're kind of going through all these different like big areas and you're just kind of flying around, and because you have to push all of those little button things that I talked about, and there's like 1 to 2 in specific like sections, and it took me forever. to find them all so I can open to get the portal to get the fuck out of there,
Mm.
And
Yeah,
also the map system it gives you is trash. It is
yeah,
so bad.
they did not update that, unfortunately. I mean, it wasn't really. It's cool that at least there is one, but it's not great.
Like the whole like it's all like, wireframes and everything, but it's like meant to be 3D. And I don't really like that it's 3D. It doesn't really need to be. And it'll have like, oh, green's where you visited, but blue where you haven't, but it's not like consistent. It's like a whole area will be green, but there'll be this little bit of blue, and it's like a wall that I didn't like touch. And
Yeah,
because I didn't touch it, it doesn't count. And it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
it's like in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, where like when you're trying to complete the map, you have to touch these very specific points to get it to actually register.
At least with those squares, they usually encompass like a big enough square to where even if you just graze the corner of it, you're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff was just kind of weird. Like also, yeah, the platforming just isn't great.
It's thankfully much better in this version.
Oh, I believe that. Like the jump level, I remember in the 3DO version was just atrocious because jumping in that game is a chore. Here it's super easy. Like jumping is nothing. And especially if you have like the running shoes on, like you can start running and then just do like a Hulk leap like across the entire fucking map. Like there are parts of the game that it almost feels like it's broken the way you can just careen across the map like it's nothing and then get the jetpack and just fly around. Like it has that entertainment aspect to it, but it doesn't really translate into like a really solid like shooter because like the shooting is fine, like but it has like a lock on where you don't really have to aim at anything. Even nowadays, where it's like where you have the twin stick shooter controls, it's much easier to aim at things. But even then, you still really don't have to, except I think the rocket launcher you have to aim at stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also like impossible not to get shot because this game does that thing we've seen it a bunch with other games where their idea of difficulty is just swarming you with a bunch of enemies. This
You're gonna
game
get a lot of
does that.
a lot of the walking assholes are gonna shoot shit at you.
Or just like flying like little bats and like flying metal things that just shoot slime at you. Just kind of out of the blue, they'll just respawn in like very weird ways. But they don't do like enough damage to really worry about them. Like the combat isn't bad, but as it goes on, it gets less and less engaging because it doesn't give you good combat scenarios. It just kind of repeats the same thing. Like you get new enemies as you go on, and some of those enemies are kind of neat, but it doesn't do enough to really keep me engaged with the combat compared to other games from this era.
It's revisiting it and being able to actually play it. It showed me that this game had a lot of interesting ideas for 95. It's one of those things where it's like it kind of in response to like that comment we got. It is cool that it was the first, but just because it was the first doesn't mean it did it particularly well.
Exactly. Like it may do more new innovative stuff than say Doom or Doom 2, but Doom and Doom 2 have aged far better and still play much better as shooters in comparison. I mean, hell, even like we mentioned like Duke 3D. Like I think Duke 3D of that like of the Doom clone era, like Duke Nukem 3D kind of stands above all of them because it keeps itself fairly grounded as a game. Like it has all the silly stupid shit, but it doesn't really take away from the main aspect of the game and engaging with like the combat. Because when you're playing a shooter, the idea is you just want to shoot everything. Like that's the idea because it's supposed to feel good. But like PO'd, it never really feels good. Like it is going to be really dumb, but parts of it reminded me of like Titanfall 2, because the shooting in that game can get like really chaotic and you're like flinging across the map and firing shit and all that. But that game was like really fun and like the shooting was fantastic and all that. But here it just doesn't have like that kind of grounded game design or that like kind of fundamentals in the game design to really make it a fun game. Because yeah, like easy to speed run, like you could blast through this game probably in no time at all. In fact, I think there's an achievement to beat this game in under 2 hours. And you very well could if you know where the exits are.
Oh yeah. No, it's very interesting to me. Like there is some creativity there. Like I do like the enemy designs. I do find them they're stupid and goofy in a way that kind of just like appeals to me and like on a level.
Yeah, like the walking butt that farts at you is great.
Yeah, the first enemy of the game. Like they're all just very like grotesque and like
But as the game progresses, like the enemies don't get more grotesque; they just kind of get more standard. Like when
yeah,
you're just fighting like giant robots and all this other stuff, like the game loses a lot of character as it progresses. Like it has all the interesting stuff at the front where it's like, oh, you have a frying pan and you're, smacking like an ass that's farting at you with a frying pan. Like that's neat. But the game doesn't keep that sort of like funny tone or kind of wacky tone as it progresses. It just kind of turns into a standard shooter.
yeah.
You
Because I
know,
found
there
it
there is
very
one there is one cool thing, and that's when you get the missile launcher, like the remote one, which by the way you can't control at all.
yep.
But if you're able to like turn it around, you can actually like get a good look at your character. And I loved seeing like your character. I think his name is Ox, and he's the chef, and he has like all the guns around him, like it's like a peacock like feather or whatever. Like that was really cool. But it just kind of bogs itself down by the end of the game, and it just plays like any other game, and it loses really any unique characteristics.
I found it very fascinating that the weapons get better as they go on, but they lose that charm. Like, because like you get the frying pan, then you get the meat cleaver, and then you get actual like weaponry, and it's like what the better they get, the less fun, kind of goofy and fun they are.
Yeah, like I love the plasma rifle. The plasma rifle is probably the best weapon in the game, but it's just a plasma rifle. There's nothing like cool or interesting about it, you know?
Hmm.
And that's yeah, and that's quite a shame, especially when it's like it just it it just yeah, it doesn't keep any of that charm, and that really disappointed me,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, it's it's a weird one for me because I find the game charming, but it's literally like the way I find it is like Night Dive made a wonderful controlling like feeling game, but it's still like a 3-star game in my opinion.
They polished a turd,
Yeah.
which for PO'd, I mean, that kind of fits with what it's trying to do, really. Um, and there were times where I was playing the game where it's like I'm having fun, like I'm having a good time, but when it was done and the credits were rolling, I was just like, it's fine, I guess. Like I was too harsh on it at first. But now that we have like the true definitive edition, it really shows that like the definitive sort of analysis of this game is that it's just okay.
Yeah. Um it's it's kind of a weird one for me because like the more I play this game, the more I want to like it, but it just
Yeah.
especially now that we've played like we found out that the 3DO actually has a legitimately really fun and unique FPS in the form of like Escape from Monster Manor.
Could you imagine if Night Dive did a version of Escape from Monster Manor?
That would be
I would love the shit out. Night Dive, if you're listening, Escape from Monster Manor, call EA and be like, hey, can we do that? Do it.
yeah.
That would
Because
be amazing because that game is charming as hell.
that game already controls fine too, so it's like they just probably polish it up and make it better.
Yeah, seriously. Like that would be a cool one to bring back because I really like that game.
PO'd is like an interesting period piece where it's like it was that interesting experimental time for FPSs where it's kind of like the gap that kind of bridging the gap between like the full 3D Quake style games or like the semi hybrids like Duke Nukem 3D or any build engine game.
Yeah, it was a 2D shooter that you could look in all directions. Because
Mm.
Doom, it was all just on a horizontal plane, and any enemies that were above you or below you, your bullet would just immediately shoot with them. But with Quake, yeah, it was 3D and you had to aim. And that was sort of
Yeah.
the big innovation. And I think PO'd is trying to do some of that stuff pre-Quake, but still doing it with like a Doom 2D sort of art style. And yeah, it is admirable in that sense for trying to bridge the gap and trying to find sort of a happy medium between the past and the future. But it's just not really that solid of a game at the end of the day.
No,
You know
it's
what I
like
mean?
it unfortunately like you can fix all of the problems it has, but if the bones themselves are still inherently flawed, you can only do so much.
It's like that Simon's Quest redacted ROM hack where it fixes a lot of the little things wrong with Simon's Quest, where like the dialogue is much faster, the villagers actually give you proper hints. day to night transition is much faster, all these little things. But at the end of the day, that game's like excessive backtracking, not great dungeon design, super easy bosses, and other weird game design choices make that game a bit lesser in comparison to the other games on the NES, right?
Yeah.
The PO'd, it's kind of the same situation. Like, yes, they made the controls much better. It's a much more fluid game to play. I did get a glitch where there's the level where you have to go down, like there's like the little spikes on the ceiling and you have to drop below, and there's like the 3x3 grid of like icons, and if you pick the wrong one, this sort of like magnetizes you to the spikes. If you try to reload your save from there, the game will still think you're magnetized. Doesn't matter where you are, and you'll just float to the top of the ceiling. So I had to like restart that level like twice until I eventually got the right fucking rune, which was really dumb. But outside of that, the game, yeah, like it runs super well. Like it looks great, sounds great. It's definitely the way to experience the game, but you're not left with anything super memorable. Like the preamble at the opening is still funny. The chef writing to his mom about everything, like that's great. And then the end screen, that scrolling end screen, is a work of art. Like I want to see that in full, hanging on my wall. There's a cameo from the Enterprise, which is cool.
Yeah.
Where basically Ox is like, oh, what a workout. I'm ready for some food. Like that's just like he just downplays his entire experience with that game. It's just like, well, I made it, so
Like,
I'm hungry. I'm gonna cook up he said I'm gonna cook up a sandwich.
that's the thing that annoys me about this game in a way, is like there is so much potential here. Like I
Yeah.
love the idea of like a goofy, almost like humorous take on an FPS, which I'm sure they've obviously done since then.
Yeah, they really should have leaned into the more comedic aspect of the game. Absolutely. Like had more weapons based on like kitchen cutlery, maybe have more silly enemies, and maybe like at certain points in the game, like say in Doom and Doom 2, at certain points you'll have like little breaks for like dialogue or like cutscenes in heavy quotes. Like they could have done
Yeah.
that here where it's like checking in with Ox and see how he's doing, and he could just make some like funny quips about what's been going on, or or even like lean into the more like Booger Man kind of gross out humory kind of stuff. Like all that stuff would have made it much more charming, really.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just kind of like
Because
shrug emoji.
I love the idea that like Ox is this isn't like peril for Ox. He's just mildly inconvenienced the entire time.
Yeah, which is fucking awesome. Apparently, he had a cigar in his mouth the whole time.
Yeah, like from a design standpoint, I think Ox is a fucking cool character. It's nice that he's like on the cover of the remaster now, so you can actually
he looks
see him.
Great. Yeah, I love the design of Ox. Yeah, like there's definitely talent behind this game, like the core of the making of it. But
it's just the game itself was too. It came out at the wrong time. I feel like if it was made nowadays, they could have done so much more with it.
Or even if they made it in like a couple years later, like in the middle of like that period between like say Quake and Half-Life or something, they could have really knocked it out of the park. Or maybe they were just afraid to really go into the more silly direction.
Yeah, because FPSs had not really hit that cinematic like period yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, the drill. The drill is probably is a cool weapon that you can drill enemies with, and then when they get blood on your face, you wipe it away like it's Metro.
Yeah,
like I liked that. That was cool. And then there was like probably the one unique enemy that stuck out to me was the slime that like constantly is like dividing and growing itself out, which makes it almost like pointless to fight them. But it was like that was an interesting concept that I think hadn't been done at that point. So like it has like little nuggets of unique stuff like that, but I just think they were afraid to really go the distance it needed to be like considered a true gem.
So reception wise, I it was harder to find reception for the Nightdive port online because it's mostly just defaults to the original 3DO reviews.
Yeah, on Steam it has 92 reviews and it's labeled as mostly positive, which is weird. Like when you ever go to Steam stuff, if you look on Google, you'll see like a star rating, but then you
Yeah,
go into Steam and it doesn't have it. So I don't know what the dichotomy is there. Though on Google it has like a 3.5 out of 5.
yeah,
And then yeah, you look through the Steam reviews and it's a mixture. It's a mixture
yeah.
of stuff.
Because Metacritic, it's very much in the middle. Like there's a lot of negative reviews, which I don't really know if I trust these or not.
Yeah, that's fair. Like all of the reviews, good and bad, are praising Nightdive for doing like a really good job with it. But it seems to be the issue most people have is just the game itself is just really nothing that spectacular.
You can only
Really.
do so much with a mediocre game. Like,
Exactly. My favorite review was somebody saying it was a Panic Restaurant on crack.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think it,
which Panic Restaurant, for those who don't know, is like a bit of a lesser known like platformer on the NES where you play like a chef and basically you're, if I remember correctly, it's like your kitchen is going fucking nuts and you have to like kind of survive it in a similar way to PO'd, but it's done in like a 90s platformer way. And it's like that was a
hmm.
cute little game. Like it's not perfect either, but it was a cute little concept. And I think this is like the 95 version of that.
The review I saw for it that I think summed it up best was they referred to the game as a 2-star restaurant with 5-star service, which I was like, fair.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good way to describe it. Um and yeah, like looking at this game, like even say like graphically, like because it's in such a higher fidelity, it's like the artwork is kind of ugly, but I feel like it's like an intentional
Yeah.
kind of a ugly look, you
I
know?
mean, what the first enemy you see on screen is literally an anus that farts at you. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, everything looks right around there, like what you'd expect from this style.
Yeah, yeah. This is a game that like if somebody wanted to take this idea of like a chef having to survive like an alien invasion on a spaceship, I think if somebody did that now, it would kind of fucking slap.
Yeah, just like
But
a no shits given. Like have him be voiced by John St. John because fuck it, why not?
yeah,
Um,
sure. Let's go for it. So,
um, so for must play, okay, stay away. To harken back to the original review, we had given it a double stay away.
yeah.
Um, I'm not going to say must play, but I'm going to give this one a firm okay. Like if you want an
Yes.
old style like boomer shooter FPS that tries to do a little bit more than like a Doom, but isn't going to be like a masterpiece by any means, PO'd is fine. Like it's perfectly okay.
It is a perfectly okay game. Like the boomer shooter genre has really exploded in the last couple of years with say some of the classic games getting revived and even new ones getting made, like say Warhammer Bolt Gun, which is a really fucking good game.
Or
Um
Iron Fury on
Iron Fury I've heard is really good.
because it runs off the build engine. It's basically just a better Duke Nukem 3D.
Yeah, there's quite a few like modern boomer shooters that are really good. There's another one I heard of. I can't remember what it was called. Let me see if I think I put it on my wish list. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It might stick out to me. But yeah, like it's Fashion Police Squad. I've heard that's like a really good one as well. But yeah, like the boomer shooter genre has definitely become quite a thing these days. And if you're a bit of a lover of those games and you want to kind of experience more of them, this is definitely one I would recommend checking out. Um, but if you haven't played like Power Slave, the old Dooms, the old Quakes, like basically anything else of Night Dive's caliber, like anything else that they've done, like or even like Shadow Man, or yeah, as I said, Warhammer Bolt Gun, or any of the more modern ones, go for those. But if you find yourself really digging the boomer shooter genre and just can't get enough of it, sure, go for this. Why not? But as it stands, it's okay. It got an
Yeah.
upgrade. It is okay. I'm glad I finally played and beat it and that it's done and we can put it to bed. Though I'll probably never play it again.
Yeah, it might be one that I like if I have my 3DO set up, I might pop it in just for a laugh. But like if I'm gonna play an FPS on 3DO, I'm gonna go with probably Escape from Monster Manor. Hell, I'll play BioFury. or even
Yeah,
Wolfenstein.
Biofuries. Yeah, Biofury, Wolfenstein, Killing Time. Like,
Actually,
there's a lot.
speaking of killing time, because of this remaster, I am because I still have yet to actually touch it. I am very excited to try out the Nightdive Studios killing time.
Yeah, and when we eventually do it, that's the version I'm gonna play because I trust Night Dive to knock it out of the park.
I'm gonna
And
play both
I know
versions,
and I
but
think Killing Time is a more beloved game overall.
Killing Time tried a lot more, and which is partially the reason why the 3DO version, in my opinion, doesn't run that well because it's trying to do a lot.
Yeah, and what's interesting about Killing Time is the original version and the new version are on Steam.
Mm.
So there's like Killing Time Classic and then Killing Time Resurrected. So
Yeah,
you can get both experiences still on Steam, which is pretty interesting in my opinion.
yeah, but yeah, I'm glad we revisited it. I'm sure we'll have other 3DO games that we might revisit at points eventually going through this.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting to go through and see which ones we'd be willing to redo.
Hmm.
But I know PO'd was like the big one for me.
Yeah,
So
but yeah. So next week, tentatively, all depends on scheduling. We are planning still to do Who Shot Johnny Rock. It all depends on Casey's availability on that one. So I'm gonna say tentatively that. If not, we'll think of something else in between. But we'll plan on that one for now.
yep.
But yeah. Other than that, once again, thank you for joining us on the 3DO Experience. The 3DO Experience can be found on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. Be sure to check us out over on superpodnetwork.com. It's an awesome site where you can find a whole bunch of different shows, videos, blogs. Our friend Danny put out another video for the Superpod Codec. It's actually one of my blogs this time, which is fun. Um, be sure to check that out. And I think, other than that, I think we're wrapping up the PlayStation blogs at this point.
Are there any left?
I don't know. I think Nomads was the last one,
It might have been.
but I'm sure we'll have another project going there shortly.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
But yeah, once again, guys, though, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
Bye bye.